What did the senator from Vermont have to say regarding RFK, and will he confirm him to be the next health secretary?
I've not talked to Mr. Kennedy in a number of years, actually. I think what he is saying about the food industry is exactly correct. I think you have a food industry concerned about their profits, could care less about the health of the American people. I think they have to be taken on. I think, on the other hand, when Mr. Kennedy talks about taking fluoride out of our water system, I think what the scientific community will tell you that would be a disaster in terms of dental health in this country. His views on vaccine are very wrong in so many ways. So we will see how the process unfolds. So I think what he's saying about the food industry makes sense to me. A lot of other things that he's saying are extremely dangerous. And it's not only the confirmation hearings, it will be discussions that we have behind closed doors as well.
At this point, have you made up your mind, or you're going to go through the process? Any other health related, as the chair of health, are there any other health related picks, agency picks that you're concerned about?
Well, I think I know
Dr. Oz
somewhat over the years. I do not know his other picks, so I'm going to have to sit down and talk with them. The other thing I think that's important is Trump over the years, and Kennedy himself, has talked about as a health problem the fact that we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. And if I'm not mistaken, Kennedy has talked about the need for Americans not to pay more than the people in other countries. I think that's exactly right. And I hope Trump keeps his word in terms of going forward in something that he has talked about for years, substantially lowering the cost of prescription drugs in this country.
So, okay, very good points. There are things about RFK that I like. There are things about RFK that I don't like. But yeah, I mean, Bernie seems pretty reasonable in terms of, going to weigh it, look at what goes on in the hearing. He seems pretty open-minded, at least from my perspective.
Thank you, Kat. Yes, I've been told that garlic and ginger combined is very good. So, take you up on that. Could you imagine if it comes down to Bernie's vote?
Yes, I can see that.
I bet you Bernie would probably negotiate. He would probably vote to confirm RFK, but it would come with conditions based on what he's saying. That's what I think.
You think he will? Maybe.
I think he would.
And I think RFK would be good in some regard. And the question that we have to ask is he someone that would go in there as an authoritarian and just make a whole bunch of rules based on his opinions about things like vaccines and fluoride? And I don't think so. I don't think that that is the case. And by the way, I will argue against fluoride in water as well.
So tell us. I was going to say, Jen, why would you, and I'm going to get some water real quick. Could you please share with the audience why you think fluoride in the water is not a good thing?
Well, I stopped personally ingesting fluoride many years ago at this point, and I actually noticed a change. And I know that people think I'm hippy-dippy about it, but fluoride is known to calcify the third eye, which is also known as the pineal gland in our brains. And yes, people say that that's not necessarily so, but I actually believe that it is. And I had an experience with that. So I am not a fan of fluoride. I stopped taking it a while ago. I stopped allowing it to be my kids to get the fluoride treatment at the dentist's office. So I actually do not have a problem with not having fluoride in water and having that be something that if people want to add that, then that's on them. So I actually don't have a problem with that theory. The vaccine thing, that needs to be discussed significantly further. It really does. It's one of those things that I see multiple aspects of it that I don't agree with vaccines, and multiple aspects of them where I do agree with vaccines. And at the end of the day, I don't think Kennedy is someone that is like an authoritative going to go in there. It's not like he's going to go in there and ban vaccines. But if he goes in there and he forces companies like Pfizer to have to actually do the work and prove that what they're putting out there is in the public's best interest and not just for profit, then yeah, I could get behind that. I definitely do not agree with teaching people that vaccines are bad, because that's absurd. All right. Can I address the guy in the chat for a second, just once and for all?
Who?
The Adam, high school necktie Goodman. You, I am sure, are a very decent person. Like I think you aspire to be a decent person. And I am sad for whatever trauma you went through. But in this chat, the thing that will get you blocked is being mean. It has nothing to do with politics or your opinion. Please feel free to share that. Be civil. But mocking physical appearance, and Peter will tell you, I say this to him all the time, that's not the way to criticize people. First of all, it just makes you look bad. And it's just not the way to go. So come up with decent arguments about people, and I'm more than happy to engage. But yeah, well, if you don't think you're good, that's sad for you. You should maybe consider help. But in any event, I don't want to block you because I like having different opinions here, and I pride myself on that. But no being mean about people's physical appearances, because it's just petty. I don't want that. So that was it. Okay.
So I do think that RFK would be a welcomed addition. I think that there is always going to be outrage about changing the status quo, especially amongst the liberal class. But the fact that so many people at this point are talking about the poisoning of our food and water supply, and
this is scary.
And kudos to Bernie for coming out and saying, I agree with RFK on these very key issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think that more than anything else is the reason why giving him the benefit of the doubt would definitely be worth it in this moment. I think of all the people that need to get in there to at least start moving the needle in the right direction.
Yeah.
If I can only have one, RFK is the one I would want.
Right. I mean, and that's what people have to understand. And I know that, because I don't know if Lila is still in the chat, but I know that they have a lot of reservations and concerns. They don't like RFK. A lot of it has to do with vaccines and COVID. And I appreciate all of that. I do. But I am with you in that I think, given that he is someone who speaks truth to power against things like big ag and big pharma, that is what we need in that position. And I think it's just going to be incumbent upon us to make sure that he stays in line with the things that we also care about. But in general, to have somebody in that position that's willing to tell big pharma to go F itself, that is exactly what we need in that position. So I do understand concerns about him, but absolutely that's the problem. And if that's what he focuses on, and the idea of the profit motive and the complete corporate takeover of healthcare and pharmaceutical and all of that, that is exactly what we need in that position. But I do think that we have to keep check on it because, there are things that he thinks that might be fringe. And we wouldn't want that. But again, I don't think he's getting in there like a dictator and saying, all right, no more vaccines, But I do understand people's concerns with some of his stuff. I do. I think it's valid. And I think that was stuff that will and should come out in the hearings and see if he can get confirmed. I think he will get confirmed.